Hey everybody, welcome back. Can you believe it? What is this, like 2-3 days in a row with Isaac? Now, we did lose our last episode, but I hope you'll forgive me. It was a good one. It was a close one. I thought we gave it our all. Tainted Azazel to the lamb with an optional garnish of Boss Rush. Okay. Tainted Azazel. Also known as... Hey, Tainted Azazel! Cover your freaking mouth if you're gonna sneeze so much, you know what I mean? I think, before I say this, I just want to note, okay? I want to note, I think that the way that they do it these days is the smarter way, okay? And I need to say that before I tell you what it is, because it's a hot button issue in the modern era. Sneeze etiquette is kind of admitting that the battle is lost before it's fought, but still trying to do it in the tactically best way, right? When I was a kid, this is legitimate, they told us you sneeze in your hands, you know, like you cover your mouth when you sneeze. I guess they didn't say outwardly sneeze in your hands, but that was the subtext. And then you would ideally go wash your hands. Whether it immediately happened in every single situation in school, who's to say, you know, if a little soap goes missing here or there, a little devious lick. It's been known to happen. And I think people nowadays, they go, that's gross. Can't you, I thought you could bounce them back, but I guess not. Gross. Your hands that you use to, I'm just taking it, man. Your hands that you use to touch everything, you're supposed to sneeze into those. You're supposed to put germs on the thing you use to touch everything else in the wild. That seems insane. That's true. And, I mean, let's go over some of the alternatives before we go to what the current case is, right? Another alternative, excuse me, would be just sneeze into the open air. That's probably worse, I would have to imagine, to sneeze into the open air instead of at least covering it with your hands and isolating it to a relatively regionalized area instead of just spreading it everywhere. But then the one that people do now, they sneeze into their sleeve. I don't want to be the guy who just finds problems with things. I think it probably is better than just sneezing into your hands and not washing them. But the thing about sneezing into your hands is at least you can wash them, right? If you sneeze into your shirt crevice, you know, in your elbow, when's the next time those germs are getting cleaned off of there? I guess you're not touching so much stuff out there as well, but you get like snot all over your shirt sleeve. So what we gotta do, and maybe this is a little too forehead, next time you gotta sneeze in public, just hold it, man. It's mind over matter. it's not mind over matter. You know, I'll tell you it's not mind over matter. When we had our baby, she sneezed, and I think this is, you know, typical for babies, but she sneezed multiple times within 3 hours of her having exited the birth canal. So, and it was not particularly dusty. I was wearing a clean shirt, I might add. It was something of a big day for myself, so I don't buy the idea that it's always psychosomatic, you know? I think that there are some sneezes that, you know, if you think about, you know, late September back in '63, what a sneeze, what a night. Maybe you could get yourself there a little faster, for sure. But obviously it's a biological response to something, right? What are you talking about? I don't know, man. I ain't been leaving the house, so we're talking about sneezing now. You know, with one heart, this is like one of the only times I would consider this. And you know what? You gotta love it. You gotta love it. How could you not? In many ways. I'm gonna see if we can buy a spirit heart, though. I always feel like going for a deal with the devil is just a recipe for spice. It's not a guarantee of success, but I think we were reasonably pleased with our item. This is just a waste of everybody's time, so thank you for that. This is a little rude, but you get the idea. Help me. You know what? You gotta use your... Oh, what have I done? You know what? I was like, we gotta use Blood Oath to kill these guys at the right area, but I totally screwed it up. Anyway, how am I doing? I'm doing well, thank you for asking. It's a Tuesday. played a great game on stream today called Vampire Survivors. Now, I'm not trying to be a hater, but you could be you could be forgiven for not being motivated to check out the game based on the name Vampire Survivors. That may be a rude thing to say. You know, what's in a name? Lot of things have bad names and are still very good. Like the movie Rushmore. It's not even about the mountain. I went in so excited to see Daniel Day-Lewis play the role of whoever sculpted Mount Rushmore, and, you know, it would probably, like, completely ignore all the controversy about, like, you know, getting the land in the first place, and you'd just be like, man, what an amazing story, you know? I was so ready for that. I was so ready for it. And then it's about some kid at a private school. Bill Murray's there, but he's not even busting ghosts. Okay, what a waste of my time. This is a joke, by the way. Rushmore, probably one of my favorite movies. Regardless. Vampire Survivors. I mean, you fight some monsters who are definitely adjacent to vampires. Bats, ghouls of a certain repute. You piece, come on, I need this one. Come on. Come on, here we go. Broken hourglass, glowing hourglass, I'm not that sold. Let's say 16% chance for your card reward, or your room reward to be a card. That's kind of cracked, man. 16% is a pretty high number. But really, I think the easiest way to describe it is that it's not an... Well, you know what? It's an auto battler in the same way that Snake RX was an auto battler. Or is an auto battler if you've never played it. But you don't attack. All you do is control your movement. And then as you move, you know, you have basically passive damage dealing abilities that'll kill enemies. You'll get experience points, then you'll get to choose roguelite style synergies to level up with, and it becomes just insane. Like you steamroll power level to a level hitherto unknown prior to this game existing. So don't judge a book by its cover. Early access, $3. Sometimes you get more than you pay for, you know? And I think this is one of those situations. Had a great time, looking forward to playing it, if not tomorrow, definitely later this week as well. Oh, I might be close to death. Not tomorrow, hopefully. Now I gotta be so careful for the rest of the night, because I don't want to be, like, ironically killed. Man, that would be the worst. Queen of Hearts, a pill, Balls of Steel, I'm back in it. I'm cruising, I'm schmoovin'. Don't really want Bloody Gus, though. Okay, get me out of here. Such a dramatic sound. But yeah, that's about it. Proud to say I got a new PB in Super Mario 64 today as well. Ooh, you gotta try. Okay. And what happens if we get it? Well, we deal with that once we get it. Can you paradox it? Can you get the glowing hourglass and then go back to before you put the money in the machine to get glowing hourglass? Or does that create like a primer situation? Where you end up becoming your own worst enemy, like a lit song? Primer. You know what? Honestly, that movie was named well, because you need a primer before it to understand what the heck's going on. Am I right, fellow Redditors? Yeah, I had just a good day today, honestly. Slept well. Good Peloton ride. I unironically think that I need to start listening to music again, actively. Because otherwise, Peloton is going to turn me into someone with bad taste. I say that, I know you're like too late. I actually, look, I'm Zoomer approved. Chiblee said, you know what, even though you're a millennial, you have good taste in things. What can I say? I spent a lot of time in the mid-2000s in particular cultivating a love for what at the time was some underappreciated music from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s that ended up, you know, as indie, the gaze of popular culture turned to make indie almost like a trendy thing. All of a sudden, everybody's like, yeah, I love the Cocteau Twins. Yeah, but back in the day, everyone was like, oh, Pat Benatar. Give her, bud. Anyway, long story. I'm not mad about it. If anything, it's kind of benefited me from an optics standpoint. So I'm not trying to say I've got the best musical taste in the world, because I don't think that you can measure that, but I'm happy with my musical taste. But a lot of my exposure to music these days is happening on 30-minute, Sam Yo 2010 rides on the Peloton, finding myself saying things like, you know what, I've never been much of a Katy Perry fan, but Teenage Dream, kind of a little bit of a bop, especially when you're going cadence 60 to 80, and then during the chorus, you're going 90 to 120. Oh, man. Jeez, I mean, look, maybe it's no That's When I Reach for My Revolver by Mission of Burma, but it'll get you motivated the way it's got that driving, you got that Saturday, got you peed on jeans. I wasn't gonna say the P word, but anyway. I gotta start actively listening to some some challenging music. Otherwise I'm gonna, because you know what? I've never been a fan of Ed Sheeran either until, 22 minutes into a 2010s pop ride. All of a sudden, I'm like, you know what? He gives me shivers. And when is I don't remember the rest of it. There's a lot of Ed Sheeran. Let's leave it at that. Anyway. That's all I got. That's all. It's legitimately all I got. What more can you say? Family's doing well, and I'm thankful for it right now. No more pills. I think we're doing well enough to not need them. Family's doing well. Nobody's sick for the time being, as of the time of this recording, which is, a blessing in and of itself. Hey, we'll stop that. You might say lucky. I would say we had our fair share of bad luck, even if we didn't get Omicron. We were actually, I guess we do have an anecdote. We were at the doctor's office today, this very day. Okay, Tomo wants to come in. 1 second. 1 second. Remind me where I was at. And we were talking. It was just a routine appointment. We were talking to our doctor about how all three of us had RSV, in November and December, and it was really bad. And she was like, you don't have to tell me. We've been having more RSV patients with the strain that we've had this year than we've had for a decade. So I told you, people go. Freaking shut-ins who have left the house since March 2020 go and, oh, you're sick again? What's wrong with your immune system? I've been told by an expert, and this is a public health care, so if anything, they have more incentive to tell me the truth rather than to just inflate my ego so I give her a great tip. She verified for me that actually, if anything, my immune system is so superior, it took a particularly heavy strain to do me in like that. So you should be ashamed of your words and your deeds and the things that you said to me earlier, quite honestly. So I know what you're going to say. Didn't you just spend more via Diplopia than you would have spent on all the stuff that you wanted individually? Yes, but I paid market price for Diplopia, and then it gave me all the other useful stuff for free, which is a bargain, even if it's more expensive than it would have been to buy them individually. It's called McDonald's Combo Science, sweetheart. Look it up. Anyway, that's all I got. Still gotta watch that episode of The Righteous Gemstones. I'm working on it. I'm telling you, it's on the list. I can't remember what I watched last night. I think I just fell asleep. I was due. I don't think I have a nightly sleep schedule anymore. I think I'm on, how the menstrual cycle is 28 days or whatever. I think I'm on a slightly wobbly cycle like that, sleep-wise. I think I have days in the week that are predictable, where I sleep well, and then there's days where I recover a little bit, then there's days where I recede. I'm like a tide. Nobody knows how it works. Many people are saying this. Always item room. Item room is the definition of I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I don't need to see any stinky secret rooms. What do I want? The best items in the game? I don't think so. Stop wasting my time. Hello. Goodbye. Okay, that would have been slick, man. That would have been slick. Anyway, how you doing? Hope I did destroy a shot, or maybe I just dodged it and I couldn't see because of the optical illusion of the sneeze. I'm not sure. It didn't open. It's a weird floor. The flow of time is distorted in Lordran and in Isaac, by the way. Shot speed down. Addicted. Well, you know what? You had your chance. You almost got me. Gonna have to be a little smarter than that to stop old Eggman from getting out of the room. Okay, I'll just take that one. That's penance. You know, it's like Cabin in the Woods. We gotta do a ritual sacrifice of HP from time to time in order to protect my way of life. I know you're... What's with the Cabin in the Woods reference? I watched Cabin in the Woods. I feel like I may have Redboxed that movie, which is insane because it would be the only movie I've Redboxed in my entire life. The first Halloween after I moved to Vancouver, I watched it with Kate. This was like a week, maybe like 2 weeks after I moved to Vancouver. I remember, I'm not proud of this take, merely thinking that Cabin in the Woods was like kind of clever. Merely thinking that it was like, you know, a pretty... I probably would have given it like a 6 or something like that. I watched it again because obviously it's one of those movies that kind of has... I mean, if you were making like a best of the 2010s list, it would be one of the higher ranking mainstream films on the list, I would imagine. Depending on whose list it was. Depending on the street. And I gotta say, I think I did it a little dirty. I think I was... eager to judge the first time I watched it. And having seen it again, I was even more impressed with its deconstruction of the slasher genre, also mixed with quite a cool little conceit. Plus, I mean, Sigourney Weaver, what the heck? Sigourney, what are you doing here? There's no aliens in this movie, Sigourney, what are you doing? Use it here. Okay. I feel like there's one of those things. Oh, he's a genius? He's the smartest of all gamers? Okay, hold on. We don't really want that. But, oh no, we're not. We're gonna have to blow it up. We're not gonna... What the heck? You re-rolled it back to the same thing, you piece of crap? At least we got Bookworm. What? Am I stupid? Did I not ever pick up the first... I never picked up the first one, did I? And don't ever look back, don't ever look back. Whoopsie. Anyway. I hereby cement it as a good movie. Here's the thing, Netflix ain't been making good shows lately. Squid Game came out in like frickin' August or something. It's been over 6 months we're approaching. It's a funny way of saying not 6 months yet, but you know. It's been a long time. I guess they made Midnight Mass, but I ain't seen that. They haven't made a good show that I've watched in a while. Look, this bit's falling apart. Just work with me here. So, you know, rather than resort to watching Hype House, where I was laughing for reasons I'll denote in just a moment, but I think I'll just maybe watch like 20 minutes of a movie, and every week I'll have added one more movie to the list of movies I've seen 2 times. But I was laughing at Hype House because it's a... I know what the Hype House is. I didn't need the show to tell me. I only watched like the sizzle reel they used to try to convince you to watch it. And the Hype House was maybe still is, a house full of TikTok influencers who realized, holy cow, if we all collaborate, we can feed our audiences to one another, create this synergistic content, build a brand out of it, and, you know, we can all do the twosie slide in each other's videos and get famous that way, like a kind of like a Ouroboros of culture. Anyway, the clip that I saw was an influencer getting a call from one of her many managers, and saying, the manager said, "You're in hot water right now. Apparently you went to a party with Steve last night, and Steve was COVID positive, and you knew that, and you encouraged him to come anyway." And I was just like, man, you could not make like a more... I can't watch it because it'll do psychic damage to me, because I'm technically in the same industry, only substantially less successful. Although, I will note, TikTok is one of those very funny platforms where... being popular doesn't necessarily guarantee you much in the way of your livelihood. I mean, you get sponsorships and stuff like that, but if you're gonna have content go viral, I mean, the best place to have it go viral would probably be Substack, but that would require an audience of people who know how to read. So, you know, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just suggesting that maybe it skews a little younger for some of the TikTok influencers. As someone who has a TikTok channel myself, and many people are saying some of my TikToks were the best TikToks they've ever seen. They come up to me on the street and they say, how do you make TikTok so good? And I say, I don't know. I just have always had an appreciation. I've always been very impressive in 30-second bursts and disappointing in much longer intervals. Many people, they laughed. They said, Mr. Influencer, it's the funniest joke we've ever heard. And I said, I know. Many people have told me that. I told you I had nothing to say. I can't watch that, man. It's like if you were a plumber, would you watch a show called The World's Most Irritating Plumbers? No, you'd probably watch a show called The World's Worst Plumbers and then, like, point out to your spouse, like, you can't leave an elbow pipe like that. And they'd be like, that's nice, honey. While they looked at their phone. Thus is the way of the world. But if it was like, you know, World's Most Irritating and Entitled Plumbers, you'd probably turn that stuff off in like 2 seconds because you'd be like, these people are doing PR damage to my profession. Okay, so we did boss rush. That's nice. Either way, I'm just saying. Maybe I'm watching some more movies lately. I mean, not a lot of movies. Like, I'm watching one movie every 2 weeks in 20 to 25 minute bursts, depending on how quickly I fall asleep. Secret Room. What a ripoff, man. Take me to the boss, you piece. But that has allowed me to see all of the Matrix films in a very timely fashion, except for the fourth one. Might be available now, though. I was also thinking about watching the Screams. You know, the new Scream's coming out. I don't necessarily know if the new Scream is going to be any good, but I kind of want to refresh my memory on the older ones. I watched They Live. I've seen it many times. I watched it again. It's only a 90-minute long movie. John Carpenter's got a lot of respect for your time. John Carpenter in the 80s, like, he had a run, man. Big Trouble in Little China, They Live. The obvious one that I'm forgetting, The Thing. Yeah, maybe actually like one of my top 10 films of all time. Then he did, the first John Carpenter movie I ever watched was Ghosts of Mars, starring Ice Cube and Natasha Henstridge. It was horrible, just a horrendous film. I watched it at my friend's 8th grade birthday party because it was rated R. I guess it's not 8th grade birthday, but you know what I mean. He was turning 13 or 14, and it's at that age where you're like, you know, nowadays kids are probably shooting like crocodile into their toenails or something like that. What the heck? That's nothing, man. But back in the day, we were like, ooh, let's watch an R-rated movie. This'll get them. It was a more innocent time. And the most disgusting R-rated movie we could find was Ghosts of Mars. And I gotta tell you, it was not worth it. I would have rather watched like Home Alone 3 or something like that. It was just a complete waste of time. I swore off John Carpenter at that point as a 13-year-old myself. Only later came to realize the error of my ways. So I mean, I gotta own something here. Like, Dark Arts is incredible, but I think I kind of want to trade it in for the ability to fly. Just because, I mean, it's a little speedier, and I think we're kind of in a speedy mindset right now. I'll probably throw in a quick pause here. It's baby bath time. I want to make sure I can get up there for the good nights and not be a derelict father, just, you know, knocking out Isaac episodes in his office. So I'll be there in a minute, honey. Turn around and she's turn around and she's old. I don't remember the rest of the lyrics. You know what I'm talking about. You definitely know what I'm talking about. You ever notice how some people drive like they're in a car commercial? But actually, like, you can tell, okay, there's a joke here. Just, you know, I think a lot of people when they drive, they think they're in a car commercial in their heads. They're zooming through the city, almost hidden stuff, beep, beep, beep. Thanks, Mazda Collision Detection. I, from an outside observer's perspective, do think they're in a car commercial. It's just one of those ones where you see the dummies' heads explode when they crash into a wall full speed. And then it says, don't buy a Ford. Okay, now look, I don't know where the punchline had to... I don't mean to insult the Ford Motor Corporation just because I spent, you know, well, it was not really mid, but like low to mid 5 figures on a Ford Focus in 2015 when class action lawsuit discovery found out that they all had known transmission issues and the company knew about it, and the executive said, hey, engineers, stop bringing it up because it's going to cost us a lot of money. Then it got brought up. It cost them almost no money. I think they ended up paying out some kind of ridiculous settlement that was like $60 per visit to the dealership to everybody that signed up for the class action lawsuit. One of the conditions of the class action lawsuit is that you can't actually seek further compensation or something. Look, I'm getting into territory that's beyond my wherewithal and my understanding. All I'm saying is sometimes people are like, why do you rag on Ford so much? And I'm like, because unlike you, I bought one and drove it. So I understand. Help me. I understand the problems with the corporation. Well, not the corporation, but certainly the vehicle. They fixed it now, though, and have you seen the headlights on the EV Bronco? They look so cool. I'll admit, it's a head turner. It turns my head a little bit. Okay, some of the stuff you'd read in those emails that got unearthed during discovery would make your head turn a little bit too when you consider the corporate culture that led to kind of that level of customer disrespect for a once reputable company. But that's not for me to say. Sure, just go ahead and hit me. I'm starting to wish I had dark arts. Okay, that didn't hit me. That was a Super Mario 64 hitbox. That did hit me, but I'm gonna say that it didn't to preserve my ego. Get me out of here. That was a disaster. Please take me up to the next floor and just let me fight the lamb. I'm ready to go. That's not the lamb. You piece. You piece. That's good enough for sure. For sure, for sure. I do this every time. I'm going to do it again. Didn't pay out with what I wanted. Hagalas? Are you joking? As honestly one of the greatest insults I've ever experienced in my life. That didn't... I pressed the space bar, you liar! Okay, I'm just being whiny now. I promise this is not the attitude I had when I was dealing with the Ford Motor Corporation. They genuinely were providing subpar customer service, okay? How did that miss? Oh. Okay, I would say, like, step one, maybe stop, like, playing chicken with all the enemies. Help me. Okay, can I just state the obvious? Would have been a great room to have dark arts on. I guess I was stalled by the projectiles that got... I'm gonna die. And it's all my fault. And I have sci-fly. All you had to do... All you had to do is use dark arts. It was even giving you most of your damage. You gave it up for the white pony? Well, anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I'm bad, and I'll see you next time. We had some good jokes, at least. See ya.